So today we have Boston Dynamics CEO give us a presentation on their robotics products, and I'll interject at times to make fun of them or compare their products to Tesla's Optimus. But at the end, we're going to get a timeline from the CEO on when we can expect robots in our homes. Enjoy.
In 2020, we launched Spot, and you're seeing Purina's version of Spot here. Spot is a mobile inspection platform. It goes around the factory, taking thermal measurements, acoustic measurements, reading gauges, making sure that the factory is operating in a healthy and safe state. And this ends up being really the launching use case. You know, Spot's a multi-purpose robot, but this is the use case that we think is really scalable and that's going to grow. And so we have customers like Chevron, Ontario Power Generation, Anheuser-Busch, Purina, folks like that.
And next, I believe we're going to see Stretch.
Yeah, so Stretch
You
is
have a knack for naming them, I have to say.
Yeah, well, thanks. Tall, right? Stretch is tall.
How tall is Stretch?
It has to reach to the top of a container, a shipping container. So this is going to be a multi-purpose. So
taller than me.
Yeah, it's, it reaches about 10 feet. And there's about 800 million containers moved around the world each year. A lot of them are full of boxes like you see here. This is a back-breaking, repetitive task. And so there's just a ton of boxes to move. And we started with unloading these containers first because it was kind of a nice, safe place to start the robot. It's almost in a cage there. But ultimately, this is going to be a multi-use robot. It's going to do any box moving task in the warehouse. We're just launching it here. And we just delivered the first units of that at the beginning of this year. Companies like DHL and Maersk and NFI and Otto are buying them.
Now, Rob, I don't know if you've heard, but we're in a bit of an AI boom right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, we're wild,
big,
right?
Yeah.
Are we possibly on the precipice of a robotics boom?
I think it's going to be exciting. So, AI is the brain, the robot is the body, and together, I think we're going to build an entirely new industry that's basically going to change business. It's going to change the way we live.
Okay, let me ask you something. If you owned a warehouse, would you buy that product? You need someone to set up a ramp that goes into the container, roll the robot on the ramp into the container, and then roll a massive conveyor belt into the container, okay? Then the employee presses go and has to go to the end of the conveyor belt to make sure that the boxes don't all get stacked up and clog the conveyor belt. So the job might even require 2 employees because after it's done, you have to unload the conveyor belt, then unload the robot, then unload the ramp. You're buying a robot that does literally one task and one task only. No software updates to give it some more skills, none of that. It can't unpack boxes, it can't put the boxes on a forklift. From the entire time you own it, it can only unload shipping containers. So, would you buy it?
So it's going to have a big impact.
Now, to sort of illustrate that point, we actually have a special guest. Spot, if you could please come out.
Yeah, so we brought a Spot robot to demo to you guys today. And today,
Yeah, you can get up, take pictures, go have a moment.
Spot is, normally it would autonomously walk around a factory. Today, Spot is being driven by Hannah Rossi here. But Spot has onboard cameras that lets it see its environment so it knows where. So if it goes on and off this.
Does it get stage fright?
Not at all, not at all. But notice how it's coordinating its foot placement with the steps because it sees the steps. So it knows how to adjust its own behavior to the environment. And that's because there's cameras. There's actually 5 cameras all around the robot. And so it builds a local terrain map. And so it knows sort of what it's getting into. And posing is cute, but it also, if you put a sensor on the back of its body, you can then point that sensor at something in the world. So legs just turn out to be a great way to get around in the world. Now we happen to have a payload today, an arm. So we can configure this robot with a variety of sensors or tools. Today we have an arm to show. And because I think the real value of robots comes not only when you have a mobile platform, but when you have something that can do actual work. And so the Spot arm can grab things, open doors, manipulate things. And one of the things we pay attention to is coordinating the motion of the body and the arm together. You and I don't think about it, but we can walk and move and touch something. And look, I'm walking around and still touching this front end of the arm easily. So doing all of that coordination takes a lot of work.
He said that the actual value of robots is when they can do useful work. And his example of useful work is when it can open doors or grab things. That claw looks like it was a claw in a stuffed animal machine in an arcade. Like, what kind of actual work could that arm do? It only has 3 fingers and they're gigantic. It wouldn't be able to operate a power tool or even hold a hammer. The world is designed for humans, okay, not dogs. Boston Dynamics is like Legacy Auto. They're like the General Motors of robotics. Like, how in the world do people think that Boston Dynamics is leading in robotics? Like, watch. This stupid dog is going to try to pick something up with its claw.
And let's see, I'll show one little simple task. I have a little toy here. And
it is a stress cube, is my understanding.
the whole idea of these robots is, while Hannah's controlling it, she's just giving it sort of high-level gestures about what to do. The robot is managing its own motion, and it's actually going to pick up the ball itself. So it looks like it's going to miss on the first try. So it's not flawless. Robots, there's no threat of them taking over, I assure you. You know? But they do have to manage an awful lot of their own motion in order for them to be useful, to adapt to the environment, whether the environment change, if a box is in the way today and then it was tomorrow, we're going to miss twice in a row. Well, anyway.
How often does that happen?
Not that often, but sometimes. Yeah. You know, so I think the lights in here maybe confuse it a little bit.
This is so hard to watch. I can't watch this. Okay, you know you suck at building robots when you're not even scared of them becoming smarter than humans. Elon Musk, on the other hand, is terrified, petrified of robots because he's actually making smart, useful robots. They looked at the world and thought, this world seems to be designed to be operated by humans, first principles thinking. So let's design a robot that is inspired by humans. Optimus recently learned how to sort and unsort blocks simply by watching videos of humans performing the task. So Tesla plans to continue to add skills to Optimus's repertoire simply by showing it more video of different skills. And the more videos Optimus watches, the more it learns, right? Just like humans. So yeah, we should be scared of Optimus becoming smarter and dangerous to humans because it can watch millions of videos a day. Humans can't do that. I mean, Elon Musk is so scared of Optimus becoming sentient that he added a kill switch into the product. Yeah.
Honestly, the folks there's a bunch of little companies standing up now. They say they're going to launch a product, a humanoid, in 2 years. I think they're blowing smoke. It's going to be 5 or 6 years.
Elon Musk has also actually been talking about humanoid robots as well.
And he has, and you know.
Also smoke?
Well, let's see. I think he's been watching too many science fiction movies. I think the fear-mongering is a little bit overblown. But you also have to take Elon seriously, right? He has a factory behind him, so that if he can build the robot, he can just be his own consumer and use it. They will know how to scale manufacturing, because you're only going to get these things to be affordable as if you can build enough of them and get the cost down. And they have the software wherewithal. On the other hand, he's saying things that don't make sense to me.
Like what?
We're going to purposely make the robot slow and weak because that's going to make it safe. I don't get that part. You know what? You want to make robots that are strong and powerful, and that's the only way they're going to be useful. And so I think that's just we're definitely going in the opposite direction.
Oh yeah, Optimus is not strong at all. This is just the actuator in its thigh lifting a piano. And I love how he said you need to make robots strong, and he pointed at the dog. Like, I honestly feel bad for this guy because he's excited about this presentation. He's going to come show off his robots. And then he just ends up talking about Elon Musk. Oh, tell me about Elon Musk. He's doing this. It's sad. I feel bad for the guy. And I cut out the clip, but she asked him how much it costs to make a product like this. And he said $100 million. I do not know how they're ever going to make that money back on this dog. I mean, use cases for the dog, I can imagine, is like security. The dog like roams the property with a camera. And if it sees something in the night, it alerts. That's a use case. The other use is, as previously mentioned by the CEO, talking about how you can have the dogs go around these facilities or factories to check on the chemicals in the air, make sure that the air is clean and there's no leaks. It can't do food delivery because people will just kick the dog and steal the food, but can you guys think of anything else? I also don't think they'll ever get that $100 million back because I can just go on AliExpress and there's a bunch of Chinese companies making the same dog.
Now, what are the use cases for Spot that you're most excited about? You mentioned Nestle, Purina first.
Yeah, so industrial inspection in the process industry is, I think, a huge and scalable market. But there's other really important use cases out there. We've had Spot at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. It's been at 3 Mile Island. It's been at Chernobyl. Anytime you have a dangerous situation where you really don't want to put a person in there, send a robot for sure. We have public safety officials, police using it. If they have to serve a warrant to a murder suspect, you don't want the cop opening the door, right? That is a very dangerous environment. And so having a robot mediate that first contact with a potential suspect is actually going to be safer for folks. And so I think there's a whole variety of potential use cases. We definitely want to build all of our robots to be platforms and have multiple use cases. But again, you got to have that launching use case that gets you across the chasm.
Now, we may be expecting too much from our robots, perhaps, but what do the risks look like?
Well, you know, I don't see much risk here. I think the real
Godfather of AI, Jeffrey Hinton, very concerned about AI-powered battle robots. The apocalyptic view, not for you.
I don't see that. I think AI is going to enhance the capability of these robots. They're going to be, but they're tools that we are building, you know. They are going to have off switches. I just really don't see the revolution happening. It's not something that I worry about. I think I've been developing robots for 30 years. We struggle, we work so hard to get them to do something reasonably well in repeatable fashion. We're not about to take off.
The apocalyptic view is not in our immediate future, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got to start with the cubes, I guess.
Right. They couldn't pick up the cube.
This is the hardest watch I've had in a while. 30 years you've been working on robots and you can't even get your claw to pick up a cube. Guys, we are watching what America considers to be the leader in robotics. I'm sure you've seen the insane videos posted by Boston Dynamics that go viral, but what you might not know is that those videos are highly staged. They're basically performances. But finally, an on-stage demonstration from Boston Dynamics, and we see the true intelligence of the robot. It was being controlled remotely, and it couldn't even pick up the cube. Meanwhile, Tesla announced their Optimus 2 years ago. That's when we saw the lady dancing in a suit. It's been 2 years and they already show more promise for a future in robotics than Boston Dynamics. If you've been in robotics for 30 years like Robert here and you're not worried about robots becoming smarter than us, you should just quit.
One of the other things that often comes up when people talk about robots is the idea that robots will take jobs. What is your view on the relationship between human jobs and robotics?
So, you know, every new technology has changed work, and robotics will be the same. But the jobs this robot is doing is it's a job that frankly is so boring, people don't do it very well. You know, do you want the job where you're walking through the factory with a clipboard recording temperatures and pressures and gauges repetitively every day, multiple times a day? Basically, people suck at that job. They'll either not do it or they'll do it incorrectly. And you really want to reserve those skilled technicians for fixing the equipment, not finding the problem. And so the robot's actually going to help enhance the productivity of those people. And stretch, I showed unloading those containers. It can be 120 degrees in the summer inside that container. That's a brutal place to work. So what's really going to happen is the people who used to unload those containers are now going to operate the robot. We have the concept of a robot wrangler job, which is, it doesn't take an advanced degree, but the person who used to work in that warehouse is now going to enhance their skills by learning how to work with technology and manage robots. And our customers like DHL and Maersk are excited that that is actually going to attract talent to them.
Do you believe that in the end robotics could even be a driver of economic growth?
Absolutely, because I think it can enhance overall human productivity.
So is it the sort of thing that it's an efficiency game in the end?
Well, part of it's efficiency, but look what's happening demographically. The rich world, the population is already declining, right? China, Japan, Korea, they don't have birth rates that are actually replacing their current population. We're going to need robots to keep up the production. And people don't want to do some of the work that these robots are doing now.
I don't understand this guy's reasoning. How do you go from, okay, birth rates are declining, we need to replace that labor. Let's make a dog. Yeah, guys, the dog will be able to like open doors for police officers. It'll solve everything.
Now, in terms of what's next for Boston Dynamics, what happens now? You have Spot, you have Stretch. What's the next hill you're going to climb?
So our next, the robot that we've been developing for years, our humanoid Atlas, I think there's a real role for a two-handed mobile manipulation robot out
What's
there.
that role? What does that look like?
Well, I think it could be in some place where you have more dexterous manipulation. So, you know, there's been robots in automotive factories for years, but you know, they only do a single task in a very highly controlled environment. If you could build a robot that could pick up anything, anywhere, you could then start to do this heavy lifting in a wide variety of ways, either in logistics or in manufacturing, or maybe getting your baggage to you faster than the airlines can do it right now.
Yeah, and now we have about 30 seconds left. What does the future of robotics look like, and will these be in our homes anytime any time in my lifetime?
Within your
It's my
life.
lifetime.
I think it's going to take between 10 and 20 years before these things are in your homes. You know,
10 to 20 is actually not as long as I was
not that
expecting.
long, right?
No, that's not that long at all.
These are expensive right now, and we're starting with industrial applications because you have to, you know, have enough economic activity to warrant the price. But as we get better and better at these and we generalize them, they're going to get cheaper, the capability is going to be there, and yeah, I want one in my home eventually.
Well, you have them in your office, is my understanding.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Rob, thank you so much. Dr. Rob Plater.
Okay, so I appreciate the approach that they're taking. You know, you start with niche applications in factories, prove out the concept, make a little money to fuel your growth, gather consumer data, and then iterate on that data to make a humanoid robot. But my problem is the timeline. 10 to 20 years? That's just one of the many differences between Robert and Elon Musk. Elon Musk projects Tesla's Optimus will be working in Tesla factories next year. In my Tesla valuation model, I have a segment that strictly breaks down what I expect the Tesla bot opportunity is worth. So if you want access to my model with price targets all the way into 2035, you can join the channel as a member below. So ladies and gentlemen, the General Motors of robotics, Boston Dynamics, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a great day.